Hey guys, it's Code of Steel and welcome to your, I think it's 12th tutorial in the C programming language. What we're going to be discussing today is that hardware store code that we were talking about last time. So I guess it's less of a tutorial and more of a demonstration of how the switch case statement works. If you guys didn't watch my last video on the switch case statement, you're going to need to know what the switch case is, how it works, and what it does for this tutorial in order to understand the code. If you already have a good understanding of it, well, then watch away. If you don't, I recommend you watching a previous video to try to understand more about the switch case before you try to tackle this kind of a code. Well, anyway, let's get started. What we're going to do is build a hardware store cash register, basically. So we're going to have regular little hardware type stuff in the actual program. So the first thing we're going to do, which is important, is we're going to do a num variable, and this is going to switch around our switch case stuff. What's going to allow us to cycle through our switch case stuff. And then we're going to do a quantity variable, because at a store you can choose how many you want to buy of each item. And then we're going to do two float variables. We're going to do our subtotal, which you guys probably know before tax, and then our total, which is after tax. And then the other thing we're going to do is going to be more of a logic type variable, and we're going to set it equal to 0 because it's crucial that we give this an initial value. Otherwise it could be a random number that we don't know what it is. We don't want it to end up somehow being I don't know, I'm going to make it a 1. I don't want it to be a 1 because that's what's going to exit our while loop later that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. But printf, and then I'm going to say welcome to the CS hardware. What would you like to buy? Okay, cool. Alright, good enough for me. And then we're going to do 2 \n to go down to a new line, and that will take care of that whole spiel. And then now we need to do what I was telling you guys before. We're going to need to create a while statement. And instead of putting a while one in here like we always put in here, we actually want to allow the ability to exit this loop. So that's what our exit variable is going to do. Our exit variable is going to say exit is as long as exit is not equal to 1. So I don't think I discussed this, guys. I'm going to do a tutorial in the future here discussing logic operations. And this is one of the logic operations here. It's called not equal to 1. So basically it can be any other number but 1, and this loop will run through and execute. So that's why I needed to assign this to an individual value, because guys, what if this somehow ended up being 1 by default and then this loop never executes? Well, we don't want that to happen. So we need to make it equal to 0 just to clear everything up. Then we need to add our curly braces, and we're going to do a printf statement. And inside of the parameters of the printf, we're just going to put a 1 for nails, which is something you typically find at a hardware store, and we're going to charge them $4.50 for the nails. So basically I'm saying this is option 1. Now we're going to do option 1 is nails. Okay, cool. So then after that I have the rest of these kind of all printed out, and then I'm just going to paste them in. Since I did this code ahead of time, save myself some time. You guys can pause it to catch up or whatever you need to do. Then if you guys look here at the bottom, obviously we have all of our hardware stuff here, but at the bottom we have an 8, and that allows us to exit. So this is what's going to be our escape out of the while loop. So next we're going to do our scanf, because if we don't get user feedback, how are we supposed to know what they want to buy? So we're going to do a %d here, and we're going to store it in our num variable, which is going to tell us, hey, this is what the consumer guy wants to buy. So then we're going to do a switch, and we're going to switch on the num. You guys should remember the switch case. This is what's going to allow us control over this without having to write a bunch of nasty if loops all the time. So now we're saying switch on the number that the user entered. Well, what do we want to do if it's different cases. Well, our first case is going to be case 1. Well, what's case 1, guys? It's nails. So this is our nails case here. So what do we want to do if they buy nails? Well, first of all, what if they don't want to buy one box of nails? What if they want to buy a bunch of boxes of nails because they're doing some kind of huge construction project or something? Well, we need to ask them, how many nails do you, and if I could spell, want? So we want to know how many nails do they want to buy. It's pretty important, right? I mean, maybe they want to buy none and they made a mistake by going into that part of the store, or they changed their mind or whatever. So we want to make sure we don't just charge them for one automatically. We want to make sure they're sure, right? So inside here, we do our %d asking them how many, and then we have our quantity variable up above, which is where we're going to store the quantity. And then the next thing we want to do is take that quantity, and we got to do something with this kind of a number, guys, because if they buy 5, we can't charge them $4.50, so we have to do some math there, obviously. Otherwise, things won't work out correctly. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a subtotal, and I'm going to take a shortcut. Instead of writing equals something, I'm going to do something called the plus equals, which I don't think we discussed. We may have discussed in our math operations. I don't remember for sure. But this is just going to take the old value of subtotal and add it to the new value plus this quantity, which we're going to type in here, times 450. So it's going to take the old value, add it together with this product, and then store it back in the subtotal value again. So that's all that's going to do. And then after that, we want to tell C that we want to take a break, because that's the end of this thing, the end of this statement. And then, guys, we're going to do the similar thing for the rest of them, so there's really no reason for me to really print that or type that all out. So I'm just shortcutting it. If you guys need to catch up, just pause it, catch up. The last case we need is our exit case. As we can see here above, it's case printf, and inside of our printf parameters we have an 8. So we need the case 8, guys, that will allow us to exit the loop. Well, case 8, well, how do we want to get them out of here? We need to change the value of exit, and I'm just going to change it to what we set in our parameters, a 1. That's going to break us out of the loop the next time it goes to the top. So, and then we're going to break that as well, and that's going to be the end of our switch case statements. So what we have so far here is we have the ability for the user to buy as many items as they want to buy. They can go back in here and buy 5 screws. Well, what if they screw up, they want 6 screws, they can go back in and buy one more or whatever. They can do that as many times as they like, come back in here and purchase stuff, or 2x4s or whatever for all the construction projects that they need to do. And then, well, when they want to exit and get out of here, they have the ability to exit. We're not allowing them to return everything to the shelves. I suppose we could do that, but there's really no need to. I suppose if you guys actually had like some kind of a project that you were doing where you wanted some kind of code like that, I could show you guys how to do that. Could just leave a message below or whatever, and I'll show you how to do something like that, or I'll create a tutorial on how to do something like that. But for now, we're just going to stick with what you're buying is what you're stuck with. Too bad. I don't care. Complain at somebody else, whatever. I don't care. Anyways, now that's the bulk of this code. We're going to finish this up next time since we're running short on time, and we will be implementing the tax calculations and the other parts of the code, and then running it and seeing how it works. So stay tuned for the next tutorial, guys, and I will see you next time.